Time now for our weekly mental health check-in. With more people experiencing hate speech on social media, we're taking a closer look at the serious impact that racism can have on your well-being.
Plus another question, how do you feel about unread emails? We'll look at the psychology behind why they terrify some people and don't seem to bother others.
Let's bring in Dr. George James for more. He is a licensed therapist and the Chief Innovation Officer at Council for Relationships. Dr. James, always good to have you with us. Let's start with the effects of hate speech, which just continues to make headlines day after day. Earlier in the show, we talked about the rise of anti-Semitic content on social media. We're also seeing a lot of racist content. So let's break it down. How does this affect the mental health of those who are on the receiving end of it? And then what can we do to protect ourselves or support friends and family who are going through this?
Good morning, Joe. And yes, when we hear racist comments, things of injustice, or experience injustice or racism ourselves, it does bring people to this place where they have higher levels of stress. They can experience anxiety and depression in high numbers. It actually also creates a level of lack of safety where you feel like there is nothing that's safe around you. And for some people, they develop these trauma responses that is close to PTSD, which means they feel like they are overwhelmed and flooded by negative experiences. And at the end of the day, sometimes it actually impacts people's immune systems and their ability to sleep. So it's a significant impact. It can actually bring people back to an earlier experience of discrimination and can be significantly overwhelming, even when we think it's just a small comment.
Dr. James, to a much, much brighter note now. A new study from the UK suggests watching or listening to birds can boost your happiness, even for those who suffer from depression. So how does that work, and does it actually have a similar effect just being in nature?
To me, this just makes sense, right? When we're outside and we see birds and we sometimes we hear their songs, we say, "Wow, that they look so beautiful, they sound so pretty." There's something about it that feels good. And there's also the added benefit of being outside in nature. We saw throughout, especially in the very beginning of COVID, that when people didn't know what to do, they went outside. They were hiking, they were on trails, and they were looking up. And so there's a combination of being out there in nature, but then there's also the separate impact of just seeing nature, seeing animals, seeing birds do their thing, seeing a cardinal, seeing these amazing birds. I saw a wonderful eagles in Alaska this summer. It just feels great, and it's something that people benefit from. So I encourage you to go outside, look up, and listen, and you might actually start to feel better because it increases just your overall mood in general.
Nature's prescription right there. All right, finally, Dr. James, we all know that one person or a few people who has more than 1,000 unread emails in their inbox. For some, that number can be terrifying because that's just plain wrong. And for others, it means nothing at all, which is weird. All right, so you know which side of this I'm on.
I'm on the other side, yeah. I got like
Mine is
4,000.
constantly at zero. I'm not saying they're organized, but it's always at no unread emails. So why do different people experience different emotions like us when opening their inboxes, and can those emotions be managed?
Yeah, this is really just fascinating on how our emails and probably even notifications, which might go into social media, can impact us. Some people feel they need to do it right away, and it might be connected to some personality, maybe someone who might be considered themselves introverted or perfectionist, or someone who just feels like they need to get things done, check off their list. While on the other side, which I might say that's where I am, they're not overwhelmed by a lot of things on your inbox. And some of it is that you might actually be stressed with trying to get it done, or you are doing so many other things that you just can't get to it. So, no matter what, it's to figure out what bothers you the most and do it. So if you need to check it off, check it off. If you're okay with it, be okay with it. But don't allow yourself to get too stressed and overwhelmed that it causes other concerns for you going forward.
Okay, I understand it now. Thank you, Dr. George James. As always, we appreciate having you on.
Yeah, fascinating insights.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.